Hi guys, it's Kelly and I'm back with another video. Today we are going to be tackling a topic that has been something I've been asked about quite a bit, which is Zig clean color markers versus Arteza watercolor brush pens. So I'm using the Frilled Petals set from Altenew. That's going to be what we're making the card out of. And then basically I'm going to make the same card twice. Even though I say I never make the same card twice, I'm pretty much going to make the same card twice. So just a little bit about each product. I have the 36 set. I have bought a couple more of the Zigs to supplement my the colors that I felt like I was missing. Those just sit right there in their little plastic bin. They are stored up and down. The Arteza markers are all in trays. And then as far as like the actual markers themselves, the Arteza are a little bit bigger. I don't know if that means they have more product in them or not. Than the Zigs are a little bit shorter. And then as far as their bristles, which you'll see here, the Arteza ones are a little bit longer, a little bit wider, and then the Zig clean color markers. So here I swatched out all my colors, and this I just wanted to show you very quickly how I did it. I did it exactly the way that I paint with them on a card. And so I took clean water to the pigment and then I let them kind of bleed out. On the left-hand side is the Artezas. On the right-hand side is the Zigs. I ended up having 39 of those and 48 of the Arteza. The only thing that I will tell you, the colors are pretty comparable, except for I felt like the Zigs were a little bit brighter. So here on the top, or I'm sorry, on the left-hand side is the Zig clean color markers. On the right-hand side is the Arteza ones. I did them no line coloring and with a black outline. And as you can see at the top, especially that pink is just so much brighter on the left-hand side. And that hot pink color is hands down one of my favorite colors for the Zigs. So I was a little bit sad that it wasn't brighter in the Arteza ones. But if you're not a pink person, that's probably not a big deal. I did overall kind of feel like the Zigs were a little bit more saturated, a little bit brighter, but because the price point is so much different on the Arteza markers, it might be worth it to get those and then just go over your image twice to have like a brighter, more built up color. I'm not telling you to go one way or the other. I will tell you that me personally, I prefer my Zig clean color markers, and those are the ones that you're probably going to see me use most often, but that doesn't mean that there isn't, that the Arteza ones aren't for someone. That's the preference that I have. So as far as building the card here, pretty much I'm doing 2 flowers, and I'm stamping on Canson watercolor paper. This is the Monteval, and I'm making 2 cards. So I told you the same exact card. So I have a mask in place, and then I'm stamping the other flower on top of it, and then I will mask both of the flowers to stamp the leaves behind them. So that is the game plan for the actual card design. So I knew heading into this that I wanted to do like this, basically the same card layout, just so it would really be comparative between the two. I'm also going to be using the same technique. My card design was actually inspired by another crafter. Her name is Iram Tasneem. She was recently featured on Jennifer McGuire's blog, so you may have seen that. She does have her own YouTube and her own blog. I will link to both of those, but the card that she did for her guest spot on Jennifer's blog was it was amazing. All of her stuff's amazing. Let's just be, I mean, she's so talented. And but I would really love the lines, the lines, the stripes with her design. So I utilize those in this design as well. So here we are with watercoloring. I'm doing them both the same. This is how I prefer to do them. I do a line of my darkest color where I want the shading to be the darkest, and then I took clean clear water, a very minimal amount, very minimal amount, guys, out to the pigment, and then I kind of just scribble on my craft mat or on an acrylic block and drop in any other colors that I want to do. For both of these, my darkest color is going to be purple, like a dark violet, and then a hot pink and a yellow at the tips. So typically you don't want to mix yellow and purple together because they're complementary colors and they'll make brown. But because it has that pink in between them to kind of act as like a buffer. It's kind of like a mediator for the purple and the yellow so that they can get together and be friends. So I just keep scribbling it on, picking it up, dropping it in. That's pretty much the game plan for all of it. So I am going to speed it up because this process is pretty time consuming. As far as the way that the both pens or both markers operated, pretty much the same. So I didn't have any issues laying down the color. I didn't have any issues with them blending out or blending with each other. So both of them performed really, really well. Like I said, the only difference that I kind of noticed was I felt like the Zig ones were a little bit more vibrant, and I don't even necessarily know that it probably wouldn't even be that big of a difference if you didn't use them with water. If you, both of these have the option to just use them straight out as like a marker and they'll blend together. I did that on another video recently where I used my Zigs. I just, even when I do that, I like to go back over them with a little bit of water because I feel like it changes the texture of them. It makes it look a little bit more painterly. But that's all a preference thing. So as far as like the actual product performance, I felt like they were pretty comparable. And again, the price point is way different. The Arteza markers are much cheaper. So that may be something that you want to look into if you're trying out. The only thing I don't believe, and you may need to look into it. I didn't, but I'm pretty sure from the research that I did earlier on when I first got them, I don't believe they sell the Arteza markers individually. So if you have a marker color that you love, you cannot replace just the individual marker. You have to buy a whole new set, where the Zig Clean color markers are sold individually. So if you have one that you just love the daylights out of and you use it on every card and it starts to get dry, you can replace just that marker, which is kind of nice. So yeah, so what this, I haven't put up a video in 100 years. No, that's not true. I haven't put up a video in probably like a week. Just because I was doing, you know, life things. We did go to our little cooking class, and so that was a lot of fun. We the place that we stayed at was like a little bed and breakfast, and it was right in like the historic district of Cincinnati. It was like this cute little village, and so the bed and breakfast was like right on the street, and then like you checked in at the actual culinary school and then like went 2 doors down, and there was like this little hidden door that led upstairs to these rooms at this bed and breakfast. And they give you like a little voucher for the bakery that's in the same thing. Everything's within walking distance. And I imagine if you, like, if we had gone during nicer weather, you could just walk around there and check out the little shops, and it would be super cute. But we only went for 2 days, and well, we didn't have terrible weather. It wasn't like balmy by any means. So we went down there, and the room, I didn't pay any more for the room than I would like a regular hotel room. And we had like a sitting room with a desk and a TV and a recliner and a couch, and then the bedroom had like a little kitchenette off of it, and then the bathroom. So I mean, I really felt like it was totally worth it. So Friday evening, we went to one of the restaurants that was just like right around the corner. We actually walked to dinner, which was nice that it was close enough to be able to do that. The atmosphere there was super cute. It was the Meritage, and they make all of their own stuff in-house. So all of their sauces, all of their dressings, you know, nothing comes boxed or pre-ordered, pre-made. They make everything there, and it was wonderful. And they had like a little live singer, which I think is kind of fun as long as you can still have conversation, which we could. So that was no issue. There was one guy who was really enjoying himself at the bar, loudly enjoying himself, but you know, it was also a Friday night. So that kind of is what it is. So we went and did that, and then on Saturday, pretty much just like hung out in that area. Didn't really do a whole lot. Our cooking class was at 5, and you couldn't, basically, like, they're not allowed to sell alcohol there. So if you want to bring something, you can bring something in. I'm just not really a drinker. Like, I never really acquired a taste for alcohol. Side note on these leaves. So I laid down, my darkest color is like a medium green. And then I picked a lighter green, a yellow, and a light blue. I really didn't use much of the blue. Like, I tried, but it just wasn't really, because I wanted it to be maybe like a little bit more teal, you know what I'm saying? So it would kind of break up that color and there would be a little bit more interest. But I didn't really find that the blue was super noticeable. So by the end of it, I really just ended up using the greens and the yellow. And so then when I did the one for the Arteza, I pretty much did the same thing. I tried the blue, wasn't really loving it, and then that was about that. So anywho, the cooking class. So you can bring your own wine in, and I'm just not a drinker. So Eric was able to find, like, basically it was like this little teeny tiny bottle of Moscato, which is a dessert wine, which is the only wine I will drink. His was a red wine that, like, literally, like, you had no saliva. Like, it sucked all of the moisture right out of your mouth when you drink it, which is not for me because I like sweet things. So the little bottle was perfect for me because then I could just do, like, my one little glass and be done with it. So when I originally booked it, I kept watching the calendar. They had, like, a cooking class calendar, and there was nothing on the schedule when I booked it, so I just waited. And then when I kept checking back and kept checking back and kept checking back, and when they finally put something up, they put it up, but it said sold out. And I was like, but I booked this hotel room so I could go to your cooking class. So I called them, and they were like, yeah, there's actually 2 spots open. 2 people weren't going to be able to make it, so no big deal. You're, more than welcome to come out. Side note about the card. So here I was getting maybe just a little bit impatient and felt like I could probably knock out a couple of these leaves at the same time instead of doing them one by one. And then after I did a couple, I realized that probably wasn't a fair comparison. So I wanted it to be an accurate comparison. I found that, so I'm going to, after these petals, after these petals, I'm going to switch back to doing them just one by one by one. But I did find that there was no blending issues, even if I was doing multiples as a time. Like, even if I laid down the purple and then let it sit for a minute, it didn't have any issues blending out once I brought the water to it. Now, granted, I didn't leave them for hours. I just left them for, whatever, a couple of seconds it took me to do another petal. But just FYI on that, I will go back to the other way that I was doing it. So it is a true comparison of their performance. So I was like, but I booked this thing because I really wanted to go to the cooking class. Like, that's why I came here. And, so she was like, yeah, no big, whatever. And so come to find out, basically it was a party of people who knew each other. Like, I think there's 12 spaces in the class, and the other 9 people knew each other. And then there's just me and Eric chilling. They were wonderful people. They were very, very gracious and friendly. And so the way that, like, the format of the cooking class is that it's a 4-course, 5-course meal. And so you each have, like, stations. You all make the pasta, but then you each have stations of things that you're doing. And then the staff, like, serves you your meal in the dining room afterward. So they're like, everybody is, like, straight from Italy. Like, the chef that was there, was originally from Milan. They were very wonderful and very kind. Everybody was just super nice. And so she's going through asking for volunteers for each station, and we end up at the dessert station. So we were making I am really bad with accents, guys, so I'm sure I'm gonna butcher it. But it was called soft amarati. It was pretty much like if you made a biscotti cookie, soft. And they were delicious. They were so very good. And so we were in charge of those. So we made those. And then we went over to help like create the pasta. That's probably my only like bummer moment of the class, was because we didn't mix the dough for the pasta. So I still don't know how to make gnocchi. Like, I still don't know how to make it because I know it's potato based, and like you have to boil the potatoes and peel them and then push them through the smasher. But I don't know what else goes in there because that wasn't my station. So then we went over there and we rolled them out, like pretty much just like cut these like sections off. Like, you would roll it into like a mound and then cut it into fours and then roll it into these big long worms and then use the pastry cutter to cut them so they looked like little pillows. And then once you had the little pillows, you could either, I don't know what the thing is called. There's like a wooden thing with all of these like straight line impressions, and you had to roll it like with your thumb. And I guess the reason why you do that is so that your thumb creates the indent in the pasta, and that's where all the sauce catches. Or you can roll it on the back of a fork. I had much better luck with the wooden plate thing than I did with the fork. The fork, I struggled with it. I couldn't get the gist of it. But so we did that, and we were chatting with people. And like one of the people we were kind of chatting with grew up, worked up here, like where we were for work. And so we're chatting with him just about like, the area and everything else. Everybody else was from there. We were the only ones who had traveled to like take this class. And so we had, after dinner was done, then like we sat down at the table. Well, they had like the dining room table, and then they put like this little, it was so romantic. It was like a little romantic table. It was kind of cute. Like right in the window, they put like this little table for two for Eric and I. And so while they were bringing out the appetizer, one of the people from the party came over and they're like, listen, we're not trying to like hone in on date night, but if you guys would like to join us, we'd love to have you at the table. So we ended up eating with them, which was really nice. And, to be able to have that conversation, they were, like I said, they were all very kind, very inviting people. So for the first course, this was an all vegetarian class, which I didn't know when I booked it. I just saw pasta, but apparently because they booked this as a class because they knew everybody, they chose an all vegetarian menu because the person who booked the class, her and her husband, were vegetarians. So that was something that was already out the gate different for me because I love meat. I'm a carnivore. I'm sorry. It is what it is. So we sat down, and the appetizer was cauliflower flatbread. So it was like cauliflower crust pizza, which was really good. It really was. Everything was like super flavorful. Then the second course was actually the gnocchi, and it had like a pesto sauce. The third was, it was like, you hear eggplant parmesan, but this was like a zucchini parmesan, and they layered it with potatoes. So it was very heavy. Like, it was a very filling meal, and I could see how that would be a meat replacement. Like, easy. I could totally see that. But me personally, like, I have a quota for zucchini, and once that quota is met, I'm out. I'm deuces. I can't eat it anymore. And that had like a little bit of, I think, like a balsamic sauce, like kind of drizzled over the top. Then we had, what was it? That. I feel like I'm missing something. I feel like I'm missing a course, but I don't know what else it would have been. So maybe it was just 4 courses, and then maybe the cookies. So then the cookies were served with like a drizzle of chocolate syrup and some real whipped cream. The cookies were delicious. I know I made them, and so I shouldn't really say how delicious they were, that they were my favorite part of the meal. But to be fair, dessert is always my favorite part of the meal. So, yeah, it was really fun. I would go back again, would recommend. I told you they give you this voucher for the bakery for your breakfast, but the bakery is closed on Sundays. So for Sunday's breakfast, like they brought us breakfast to our room, and it was strawberries and grapes. They had oatmeal in there. They had like cheese and nuts. They had, I'm trying to think what else they had. They had a bunch of, I mean, just like really, really good orange juice, water. They had a lot of really good stuff. And then we had a coffee maker in our room, which was amazing. So Friday night when we got there, like we went down to like the Kroger and bought a bunch of like snacks and stuff. So here on the, oh, that was a quick little flashback. So here's where I'm going to put in the lines. The ruler, I'm using just a T-square ruler, and I'm using the lines on my grid paper to just kind of match that up. And then once I create the lines, the thicker line, I'm just going to fill in with a Copic. So this one that I'm working on is the Zig Clean Color Marker one. And pretty much in the photos, they look absolutely no different. I don't know, maybe it's just because of like what the lights were or how I edited the photos, you know, for like brightness and things like that, that they look almost identical. They don't look too different in real life outside of, like I said, that pink. When I did the one where I tested it for the no line coloring and then the black outline, like that pink was the only thing. It was so much different than the pink that they offered. So once I have my lines in, I'm going to go ahead and stamp this using the same ink I used before, which is the Hero Art black ink. It's waterproof and it's a good crisp black ink. I absolutely abhor where I stamped this thank you. I should have just moved it down a little bit. I know that I like a tight design, so I like my sentiments to be very close to my focal points. And I had originally moved it down a little bit, but I just moved it back up and it was a bad choice. I put on some rhinestones, and then I'm using Clear Wink of Stella. Warning on that, it will move some of your pigment, so you need to be quick about it. Don't spend a lot of time, you know, moving that around. It'll move your stuff. So those are both of the cards. The one on the right is the Zig Clean Color Marker. The one on the left is the Arteza markers. So as far as performance review, I mean, they're pretty similar. I just feel like the other one's just a little bit more vibrant, but that's just me. And that's it. So thank you guys so much for joining me, and I will catch you on the next video. Bye.